I like to think I'm a fairly private person, keep to myself.
And yet here you are making a TELUS STORYHIVE video, and
I know.
You just finished listening to yourself on public community radio.
Okay, but that's the good thing is it's a community radio, so there's only going to be so many people listening. There's the very big side of Kyler that is really proud of himself, of saying the things, and I want to say the things because it's a time in the world where nice things need to be heard, like things that are worth believing in, like being kind to each other and kind to yourself.
Have the grace to keep on moving on at a pace that's right where you belong. In the face of all that's going on, you don't have to run that race. In the time where the chaos seems too much, oppressed don't even seem to touch. The waning hearts too tired to show their face. Have the grace.
Hi, I'm Kyler Solmerk. I'm a trans man. At 6 years old, I knew I was born into the wrong body. All of my life, I kept that secret. I never told anyone because I was too afraid. And I gave up on myself when I was 28. I figured I wouldn't do any transition. I was just gonna do my best to get through life and end it early. And I was gonna wipe it from my mind and do whatever I could to fix my head. And so I wasn't going to say anything about being trans at all, ever. Because words like abomination and mistake come into my head. The look on my family's faces when I try to tell them what's going on for me. I'm so tired of learning how to negate myself and shut it down. I'm done with shutting it down. Afraid to tell society that I was different. I waited till I was in my 40s and I had breast cancer show up, and I thought that would be my way out and I wouldn't have to tell anybody. But I lived. It wasn't until I'd gone through the breast cancer that I had enough guts to decide to transition. And it was interesting because my body had a cancer based on estrogen. So I wasn't allowed to have estrogen in my body at all. And without that kind of software, it's really difficult to feel functional as a human because there's no drive. There's no drive. The body itself as a hardware, it doesn't know what to do. And I started losing muscle tone and feeling bad. What am I doing? Why am I wasting my time? And so then it seemed like just such a natural timing to move through and actually allow myself to transition, because there was no point in trying to be anymore something I never was supposed to be. For over 40 years of my life, I was so angry. Inside anger for not being seen, and then being told I'm a mistake or an abomination or that it can't be real, and trying to prove to myself that I'm not a mistake or that I am valuable because I know things or learning what I can do. And I spent a lot of my life trying to learn how to retrain my brain so I wouldn't think this way and fix myself. I took NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. I've taken emotional fitness coaching. I've taken tons of philosophy, psychology. And you know what? This is not a psychological thing. My instincts, my physiological instincts are different than my brain wiring. And so that's what creates the problem. My brain is different than to my body. And it's been so frustrating. And it's been so great to hear of words like gender identity that came out in the 90s to realize I'm not the only one. I thought I was the only one for so long. Can't tell you how good that felt. There's so much we were told that is such crap. And I'm so glad I had the wherewithal to keep looking. Just to keep looking, even when they said I was a mistaken church. I kept looking and found my own spirituality, which I would hope everybody does. Because we all have it within us. Why don't we start with that? We're all human. How about that? And even though I do love women, I prefer women, I still don't identify as a woman. And that's something that'll probably mess a lot of people up.
Shortly after I started my transition, I met up with my current fiancée. I had known her years before, but it never obviously matched. She was with someone else, and I was someone else.
You want me to keep going?
Yanti has provided a lot of compassion and space for me to grow and to change and become more of who I am. And I was amazed that someone would be able to see through to me so quickly. Of course, it was also right when COVID hit, so we were in each other's bubble, and we got to grow our relationship in a really neat little petri dish as society shut down. This is unity. Working through so many judgments and messages about being a mistake has taken a lot of time to reprogram and own my masculinity and all that it is, and all that I express of myself, the things that aren't deemed feminine. I love sports, I love my truck, I love 4x4ing, I love being on the motorbikes, love exploring outside. Not that into cooking, but I enjoy eating.
This is Ruby. This is my mistress. I love this truck. I love living out here. Isn't it great? Beep, beep, beep. Haven't been here very long. I got to Naramata right when COVID started, which is interesting and odd because I decided to transition the year before COVID started. So for me, it was perfect because I got to hide and do a transition time during that. I really wasn't sure what to do or how I was going to do it without killing myself first. So COVID happened really conveniently, and I got to hide way out here in Naramata. This is one of my favorite drives. It's so beautiful out here. This is a really special lookout that we're going to. It's really popular with the Naramatians and the young ones here. They come and party out here because you can see everywhere. It's so gorgeous. And it reminds me that we're so much more than just what we've been born into. We're just humans. Humans being. Still kind of weird having a camera on me, because most of my life I've done a really good job at hiding. And there's times I still want to hide, but I can't anymore. I can't hide anymore. I really believe in the good of humans at large. And I'm good. I can't believe I get to live here. Isn't it fascinating? It's just amazing. So glad I could bring you here. See this.
I think as an ally, it's important for me to research. There is so many great resources, and getting to know people for who they are can really help to dispel the myths that these people are like this and those people are like this. And I think that's what Kyler's all about. He's about the love. And boy, do I love that guy.
I love looking the way I do now. I'm not afraid to show my face anymore. I used to wish I had a cloak of invisibility because I never wanted to be seen. That's the hardest part, is being seen.
Never imagined I would be a handyman, but I suppose it started because I've always been curious about the nature of things, of just how things work, and I've always wanted to know more. I love mechanics. I love understanding how things work. And typically, having been grown up a girl and having to prove that I could, it was rare that some of those opportunities came around to learn how to do it. But I typically was more mechanically inclined than a lot of the guys hanging around, so I got to learn stuff. And I loved it. And I figure the more you can learn, the better it is. Anytime. And just started building up my wheelhouse of things to do, because I hate always having to ask for help. And so, just like building my body when I was a personal trainer, building my mind to know more things just means I'm a more capable person. And take care of myself. All towards feeling better about me.
Kyler and I have known each other for quite some time, probably about, 9-10 years?
Met in 2010.
Yeah, I was very pregnant at the time. Married with kids, and we'd been in the same self-development workshops. And then found Kyler, and he was our mechanic for a little while.
This is my buddy Henry. Hi, Henry. And I'd run into Yanti every so often, bringing her van in, but still didn't really know each other, which is okay. And I think it wasn't until about 2019, actually, when I started DJing at the same coffee shop that she was working at and going to hang out every so often, and we started actually running into each other more. My whole life
Fell apart in 2019, and Kyler was really there for me, and I think you saved my life.
And that's 2019 is when I actually changed my name and started making outward moves to transitioning. And Yanti is like one of the first people to see that and come over and congratulate me, and it's like, well.
I remember that morning I was, Fergie and I were in the kitchen, and I saw on Facebook, I was like, oh, Kyler, that's so cool. And then you came in that day, and I gave you a big hug and congratulations, and I thought that was super cool. And Dee had just done the same. My son had just come out as trans as well, and so I was going into a whole lot of learning about what that meant. And so what I found out is that being supportive is the #1 helper for mental health for trans people, and so I just became a really big cheerleader, and then he was just so amazing, and we fell in love, and it's been history ever since.
I myself was planning actually to be single, but because Yanti has done that kind of work in that personal development workshop, we both know the value of committing to being open and honest. And I think as a human, really that's all we can commit to when we get into a relationship, because we don't know the future. But I know right in this present moment how I can play, and I want to play hard, and I want to play fair, and I want to find somebody that can match my level and wants to keep growing.
And so we started just looking at each other a little bit differently, and then COVID happened, and then that whole situation sped our relationship up. That was a super speed.
It's like, are you in my bubble? 10 people I'm allowed to hang out with.
Yeah, we just met, and now we have to decide if we're gonna be like each other's 10 at the time, right? So we did.
And it was an awesome summer. I had a great time.
Well, Kyler is, of course, the inspiration of TransMan. It really felt important to write a song about what's happening, what happens with guys like Kyler.
Yanti, being a creative, says, hey, why don't we start writing a song? I started writing a song. Why don't you take a look at these words? And so it's like, yeah, let's take a look. And
He's got guts to do his own thing.
That doesn't roll off my tongue very well. Challenge your conditioning. He's got the guts to do his own thing. He's got the...
And we wanted something kind of punchy and rocky, like a little more like simple 60s style music, because music can really help deliver a message.
TransMan, that's right, he's an FTM. TransMan, man is transitioning. TransMan, too cool for your conditioning. TransMan, he's just doing his own thing. Walking with his head held high. You don't need to wonder why. Introduce yourself and see. You can let him be the man he wants to be. TransMan. We definitely are polar opposites in a lot of ways, and the way that we're similar is that we both have a desire to show our true colors in our community. And so when we first got together, I definitely had to think, like, what is this going to work? Like, how does this work? I've only ever, have always identified heterosexual and cis female. And so I didn't know, but we just kept hanging out, and we really liked each other, and we thought we'd give it a go. And Kyler's such a lovely person. He's so giving and thoughtful.
Very funny.
He likes a little hug. Yeah, it's so cute.
Hi, baby.
He's like, there's all these people over I've never met.
Look at his paws. He's got the paw pumps.
We did a lot of healing together. It was perfect timing. He needed me, I needed him. He needed a place to hide out. Naramata is a great place to just kind of be away from everyone in a general sense. Most of my community is really open, and when they said, who is this new guy in your life? And I said, this is Kyler. There was no, like, what are you doing? And there was no judgment in my friend circle. They just were like, great, welcome. Hi, I believe who you are, which was really refreshing, I think, for Kyler. And it was a really nice way to develop our relationship just in safety. The words started coming to me, walking with his head held high. You don't need to wonder why. Introduce yourself and see. You can let him be the man he wants to be. It's absolutely takes zero effort on your part. And so, Kyler helped me with some of the wording. I wanted to say words like, trans man, and this man is transitioning, like FTM, some words in there that are key to who he is, Converse jeans and plaid for that lad. Like, that's what he's into,
Typically, I don't experience a lot of challenge. However, when we do go out in public, specifically say to a bar or a restaurant, like this weekend, I feel I always go to the washroom before I leave, whether it's a road trip or not, but especially because I don't want to use the washroom in the public. So we're hanging out, and I notice guys kind of look at me because I look a little different. And I'm pretty skinny for a dude, so small status, which is fine. But when they come to challenge my status, that's where it gets confrontational. So I'd left to go out, have a smoke. I came back, and the bouncer looked at my stamp. He goes, "That's not our stamp." I was like, "Well, yeah, it is, and the waitress is going to be mad if I can't pay the bill inside." And he looks at his buddy, and then somebody else wanted in, so they let them all go in. And I was kind of like, how am I going to prove myself against these two big guys? And then I didn't have to, thankfully. But then I go inside, and the bouncer keeps coming in and doing a walk around, and he keeps checking me out of the table. And I don't want to go to the washroom by myself in a bar where I already have a few guys kind of looking at me like, what's that little dude over there? And I dance. I go up and I'll dance with the girls. I don't care. I love to dance. It's great. But it's amazing the looks that I get, because they're either I'm a fag or I'm some sort of weird situation. And that starts moving into dangerous territory, because if I challenge anybody, any man's status, that's what starts a fight.
I think it's so sad that these are the things that you have to think about on top of all of the other things in the world, you know, that everybody else has to think of. On top of that, you have to worry about what, you know, like, where are you going to go to the bathroom because of danger? Like,
another piece that is I don't want to talk about and is seldom talked about is gender dysphoria. That it comes from internal and external. To give a better example, internal gender dysphoria occurs for me as I get myself, if I start feeling a little randy and I want to, you know, Yanti and such, it's typically really, really good. But there are times then when I check on my own self and I'm like, whoa, the self-judgment comes through because of what I have been indoctrinated as to what's a man, what's a real man. And that a real man has a really big member, and that's all that she really wants, and that's all. And so that I have to rework in my mind at times as to how and who I am in bed. The external comes when there's someone else looking at me and they're giving me the once over, seeing if I got bumps in the right spots. And that's something that is like mental gymnastics for me. I don't always know how to get through. I have a lot of compassion for the younger men, because as a man, it seems still in our society that it's all about the penis, the power of the penis, the trophy, and I'm so sick of that. Like, yes, it's helpful, but guess what? There's lots of ways to make your girl happy without that one thing. I know you don't want to believe it, but it's true. And so I just get so frustrated and realize, like, this is the greatest sex organ right here, is right there for all of us as humans. And why, as the patriarchy, does it have to keep being this little thing, that, whatever size? It's not about that. The power is in our brain. And I want to encourage all the young guys to keep finding your own personal power. It's not between your legs, it's between your ears.
your respectful nature is certainly a turn on for me.
I feel great. Even with a mix of emotions all going on, this is exactly what I need to be doing, and the time is right now. And everything in my life keeps showing up. Every day it shows that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, this is what I am supposed to be doing, and this is what you're supposed to be hearing.